here's why I feel confident saying this is the most impressive win of Lamar Jackson's career. Really, I have two reasons for it. One, we kind of mentioned how the Chiefs have owned the Ravens. He finally played well against a team that's had his number. And not only did he do that, he did so by overcoming adversity. Which is, for the Ravens, we have seen in some pressure moments, in some big games, Lamar has disappeared. So we'll get to that in a second. Let's start with, though, Lamar himself and finally playing well against the Chiefs, something he's been unable to do really throughout his entire career. Because the Chiefs have been the one team in Lamar Jackson's career that have been, as he said, after last year's 34-20 loss on Monday Night Football, the Chiefs have been the Ravens' kryptonite. Because you look at the stats. Before last night, heading to last night's game, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens were 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, 0-3. I mean, that's not something to really be that upset about considering the Chiefs beat everybody, right? That's how the Chiefs roll with Patrick Mahomes. There's a reason why they're the best team in the NFL when he's their quarterback. But when you look at the numbers outside of just the Chiefs or the Ravens and Lamar Jackson against the other 30 teams in the NFL is 30-5. So he's 0-3 versus the Chiefs, but he's 30-5 against the rest of the NFL. When you look at his completion percentage, when he goes against the Chiefs, he's completing just 52.6% of his passes for just about 170 yards per game. So he's completing half his passes, just 170 passing yards per game against everyone else. The other 30 teams in the NFL, Lamar Jackson's completion percentage, 65%, averaging 192 passing yards per game. So again, a boost and a spike in completion percentage. He's thrown for almost 20 yards or over 20 yards per game, more against everyone else compared to the Chiefs. His passer rating is just 78.8 against the Chiefs. Against everybody else, 104.9. So again, this is a huge kind of discrepancy here between the Chiefs and everyone else. And for me, it was almost the mindset for the Ravens of knowing the Chiefs have our number that got me so concerned, and why I put so much emphasis on last night's game for Baltimore is because they really kind of have to get over that hurdle. Mentally, even. Just be able to be like, we can compete and we can beat the Chiefs. To actually see it happen to me is going to be huge for Lamar's confidence and for this team's confidence going forward. And it's not only right, that they won last night. Because that would have been perfect and gravy for the Ravens. Right? Just, any win doesn't matter if it's 3-0, 6-3, or 99-98. However you win the game would have been huge for Baltimore. But it's also almost icing on the cake, if you will, that not only did they win, but they win because of Lamar Jackson. Because he was the catalyst. And as we just mentioned, he's been anything but that against the Chiefs. He has really just been Clark Kent, if you will, if Lamar's Superman against every other team in the NFL. He has really struggled against the Chiefs. So that's why it's huge for him and his confidence that not only were they able to win, they were able to win because of Lamar Jackson. Threw for 239 passing yards, 1 touchdown. When you look at last year, he was held to under 100 yards passing on that Monday night game in which the Chiefs won by 2 touchdowns. So you follow that up 239 passing yards, also ran for 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, including, as we know, the game-winning or the eventual game-winning touchdown, but also just as importantly, had the game-winning 4th and 1 conversion to put the game away, which I love John Harbaugh going for. Props to you. You're in your own end, right? You're on your own 43-yard line. Maybe either way you lose because you punt the ball back to the Chiefs. We saw how quickly they were able to move up and down the field before the fumble by Clyde Edwards-Helaire gave the Ravens the ball back with just over a minute left. But I love the 4th down conversion, and good for Lamar. Ball's in his hands. You give the best player in your team the ball, and the Ravens were able to get it done. Lamar was the guy leading the charge, and especially in the second half, he was almost unstoppable. He was unstoppable. Just 1 punt in the second half for Baltimore. They scored in every other possession they had. And again, they were able to keep up, come back, and win the Chiefs. So it's not only that they won. Lamar Jackson being the catalyst for the win was huge going forward.